Okay?
Okay, boys, let's watch this.
Preview.
I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. Well, we're back from our break. We've been playing the game a whole lot, and we've been reading a whole lot of feedback as well. So it's time to assess and work out what we're going to do next. Now, later this week we'll be releasing PoE 2 0.1.1. This is a patch designed to address the concerns that we can address relatively quickly, without needing to create a new league or a new economy just yet. In this video we'll be going over some of the issues we've identified, and what we're planning on doing about them. It's worth stressing that just because a specific issue isn't on this list doesn't mean that we're not aware of it or that it isn't going to get addressed. It just means that we either can't fix the problem quickly, or we can't do so without the need for a new economy. One of the major areas that needs a lot of attention is the base experience of mapping. We've made a lot of changes here. First, in-game maps have received a balance pass to the number of monsters, number of chests, number of magical rare monsters, number of essences, strongboxes, and precursor artifacts. You should generally find maps more rewarding than before.
Okay.
Maps generally specialize in one or more of these elements that they will be particularly rewarding in. Now, towers are a thing that's very important for players to run often.
Towers.
We only had one of them. We wanted to add more variety here as soon as possible, so we've added 4 more tower maps. Alpine Ridge,
Zawsze spoko.
Sinking Spire,
Nie da się głośniej.
Bluff,
Na maksa jest.
and Mesa.
Nice. 4 nowe tile na towera. Nice, nice.
Also redone the existing Lost Towers map to make playing there less boring. We're now also spawning more maps with bosses. The rate was intended to be 1 in 4 maps, but in reality the rate was much lower due to some maps being unable to spawn bosses. We've increased the rate to compensate for this issue so that we can get the actually intended rate. We're also adding a new type of tablet that allows you to add bosses to your maps with its own mod pool.
OMG! Bossów będzie można
Strongboxes
Just
also
Like That
need some
przyzwać?
They now spawn monsters faster, have a less
Dobrze.
annoying fog effect, and have also received changes to the timings and effects of the mods on them.
Bardzo dobrze. Instantowo.
Now, let's talk about visibility of effects. Many maps had too much clutter, preventing effects on the ground from rendering, causing you to be unable to see and dodge them. We've both changed the level of clutter on some maps, and changed some effects to make sure that they are always visible.
Nice.
In addition, elemental explosion effects have had visibility improved. Stick around for longer before they explode, and disappear without exploding until rare
Bardzo
monster
dobrze.
dies.
Transparentne spele.
Volatile plants are also way easy to see before they explode.
Bardzo
Now we've
dobrze.
also increased the zoom level on the Atlas, done pass on various terrain collision issues on many
Nice.
maps. We've also improved the load times of opening the world map and Atlas panel. And we also now show the biome of a map on the hover for it. For other in-game content systems, we're focusing on getting all the rewards in line with what they should be. For Delirium, we recently fixed a bug which caused Delirium monsters to just not spawn after the starting part. And we've also buffed the rate of simulacrums dropping by 20% to make it more in line with the rate of finding the expedition and ritual bosses.
Bardzo dobrze.
For Ritual,
Stańska,
we've made
dziękuję.
omens now appear in the Ritual Tribute window 60% more often.
Dobrze.
For Expedition, we've improved the rarity from the shops, but we'll be wanting to make some more substantial changes to the rewards for this league later on.
OMG.
Now, one of the major concerns that we're often seeing is
This
that getting
was
to play Pinnacle
amazing.
content just takes too
Cytadele.
long, and that when you do finally get there, you only get one attempt and don't get a chance to learn the boss.
Tak.
In order to address these concerns, we're making the following changes. First, we're making the Citadel spawn closer to the center of the Atlas, and we've also added an effect so you can see them in the fog of war from further away.
Co?
This makes them much easier to find. To address the problem of only having one attempt, on the Arbiter of Ash you will now get up to 6 respawn
6
attempts.
respawn attempt na
Respawns can only
bossach.
be triggered by the person who put in the keys. And
Biedny
everyone in your party will
Czechos.
be respawned at the same time. Leaving the map
6
still forfeits your attempt,
Sześć
so you'll still need to find the boss
portali
with the build you
wraca.
walked into the map with.
Git,
Higher
można się
difficulties of the
uczyć.
boss will lower the number of respawn attempts you get, but you should know the mechanics of the fight by then, right? Now, we'll also be adding respawns to other Pinnacle content as well over time.
Aż mam ciary, nie?
Another thing that players have noticed is that there are less keys from Faradin Citadels on the market, and thought that it was because the Citadel spawns less often. It turns out though that this is just because the boss kills players more often than the others. We've made a few changes to that boss to bring it in line with the other bosses.
Okej, Nervia Manry. Nervia
A lot of
Manry,
people have reported
confirm.
that many of our unique items are feeling underwhelming.
Tak!
Uniques are often designed to be build
Mówiliśmy to,
enabling at
mówiłem
high
to przed
levels,
chwilą.
even if they're low-level uniques. But we realized that we do need to make sure that more uniques feel powerful when you first get them at low levels too.
Dokładnie,
In this patch we are
unikaty.
buffing a lot of uniques. These changes should make finding uniques at lower levels a lot more fun,
Wow.
and make subsequent character playthroughs more fun too, when you have some great uniques to use.
Nice.
We're also changing a few other things to make finding rares better at higher levels too. First, we're changing mod weightings a bit to make sure that there are less bad mods. Another fix is making high tier items no longer cull the highest tier modifier of a given mod type. This bug caused bows and crossbows to not spawn with attack speed at tier 5 rarity, and rings to not spawn with life at tier 5 rarity. Another change we're making is to make it so that socketables such as runes can now be overwritten with another socketable.
Aleluja,
As we continue to
człowieku!
play, we still find many balance anomalies with specific monsters or bosses that can be nasty if you encounter them. This patch contains a pass adjusting a large number of those
GG.
monsters and bosses. We'll save the full list for the patch notes, but there are a significant number of changes here that should address many cases where monsters or bosses felt too hard in certain circumstances.
Tak jest.
Here are a few examples to get a taste
Nerf
of what kind of
bossów,
changes you can
one-shotów,
expect.
nerf one-shotów.
The Silver Fist Commander roll now does a lot less damage.
Dokładnie, ten roll zabijał od
Plague
razu.
Bearer's Detonate Dead can no longer be used from off-screen and has better telegraphing. Forsaken Miners throw less grenades, have improved visuals, and deal less damage. And Lost Men Zealots can no longer meteor you from off-screen either, as well as many other changes just like those. One of the big issues for players on consoles is that the
Item
web-based item
filters
filter
za
system is
konsole.
currently not working. This means that they can't use item filters like the PC users can. The 0.1.1 will be enabling the
Macie.
same system that PoE 1 has, which allows you to subscribe to item filters on the website. For now, this will be done on the PoE 1 website to allow us to get this feature out as fast as possible. Later on, we'll improve the user
Actually,
experience
no?
of this and put it on the Path of Exile 2 website. This patch also contains a bunch of other smaller changes and bug fixes that I'm sure you guys will appreciate, like buffing armor and scavenged plating, showing the number of uses left in your charms, as well
Buff
as an effect
armora.
when they trigger,
O tym też mówiliśmy przed streamem.
Song of the Exiles.
fixing the music that Una was supposed to play in town,
Klimacik.
and plenty of other little fixes and improvements throughout the game. Now, we have a huge amount of much more meta-shifting changes that we know we want to make. And one of the best things about having the game in early access with the endgame is that we now have a much better idea of where we want character power to be and what the balance of bosses and monsters should be relative to that. But those types of changes are going to have to wait until we are ready to make a new league with a new economy for people to play in.
New
It's still a
economy.
little while away yet, but in the meantime we'll be continuing to identify things that are causing frustration and try and address them. I want to thank you
Jak
guys
z
for playing
Wiedźmina, no.
and hope to be doing more of these in the future.
Woo!
Later.
Alright, so there you have it.
Okej, no
Pretty
powiem wam
awesome.
szczerze, że jeżeli chodzi o słuchanie feedbacku, to o tym wszystkim rozmawialiśmy. Oni uderzyli, wyeliminowali wszystkie bolączki obecne ludzi. Loot filter, pyk, bossowie one-shotują, pyk, armor niedobufowany, pyk. Co jeszcze było? Bardzo, wieże nudne, okej. 4 tile i tak jest problem z wieżami, ale okej. Endgame, pyk. Niesamowite, cytadele, pyk. Teraz cytadele będą widoczne tym beamem. What the
I'm
heck?
not gonna read chat and I'm gonna mute my mic.
What the... Runy? Pyk. Zamiana run nie ma problemu. What the fuck? Czy mam wrażenie, że na takie zmiany od Blizzarda czekalibyśmy 20 lat i nigdy nie nadeszły do końca, tak jak czekamy na loot filter?